61 years of independence is what we are celebrating in Zambia this October. 61 years. Some of our friends who have been around for quite some time were part of the freedom struggle, and some of us were born after Zambia got its independence. This was on October 24th, 1964. Now we are celebrating 60 years of independence, and joining me is a group of well informed Zambians to share their thoughts on this milestone. And this is not, I won't take much of your time. I'll just go ahead and bring up our panelists so that um, they are more eager to talk about these things. And unlike me, I'll give my thoughts afterwards, but I'm more interested also to hear from our panelists. We have two ladies and we have two males. And actually, I'm happy that we have a well balanced panelist to give their thoughts from different angles. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and introduce our speakers. So, to start us out, we're going to go to Mr. Gilbert Mwanza. Mr. Gilbert Mwanza, take it away. Your introduction, sir.
Hi everyone, my name is Gilbert Mwale, and I have been a serial entrepreneur for almost a decade now. I run a company called Farmhouse Imsika, and we have raised close to a tune of $200,000 in the last decade. And we are on a mission to actually help every emergent farmer in Zambia to turn their emergent farm into a commercial farm. And this is simply done by, connecting them to superstar farm workers, and as well as also helping them set up business processes on their farms. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mwale. Thank you for that. Now, we also have a very distinguished gentleman joining us. Sorry, I butchered your name. I said Mr. Gilbert Mwanza, but it's Mr. Gilbert Mwale.
Yes. So, thank you.
Yeah. So we also have a very distinguished gentleman. I will let him introduce himself. Take it away, Mr. Mwanza.
Hello, greetings. My name is George Mwanza. I'm the mayor of the city of Chipata. I am the youngest mayor in Zambia, Africa. That's not a position. It's a situation I found myself in after winning the elections. Very tough election, I must say, but also we are driving transformation and change, restoring the confidence that the people and the world have in the young people. That if anywhere in the world, in Zambia, people doubt the ability of the youths to provide quality leadership, transformative leadership, result-oriented leadership, we are displaying that in Chipata. So I'm happy to join this panel and to join the discussion as we reflect on 61 years of Zambia's independence and build the future together. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mwanza. It's good to see young people getting involved in this leadership race. It's always encouraging and it's always good. So now we're gonna go to. We have two ladies. I think the first one to go is Chishimba. Chishimba, take it away.
Thank you so much. My name is Chishimba Madisawe, and I'm a computer scientist, I'm an author, and I'm also an entrepreneur. But for the purpose of this discussion, I'm here in my capacity as someone who uses social media to air out positive views in a world where technology is being misused. I have decided to take a different stance. So I use my social media to be able to reach out to the youths and to post articles as well as to do content that is influential in the right way. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with this powerful panel.
Good. Thank you, Chishimba. And Maliwasa. So now I think the last person, last not the least, is Taonga Zulu. Taonga Zulu, your introduction, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Taonga Zulu. I am here from NGOCC, that is the Non-Governmental Gender Organizations Coordinating Council. I serve there as the Board of Governors Youth Representative. I am also the Young Women in Action Board of Directors Chairperson. I am happy to be here with youths from different spaces, and as a women's and children's advocate, it's lovely to be here. Thank you.
All right. So thank you. Yeah, so it's always interesting to see young people. Yeah, by young, some of us are in our 40s, so we are climbing up in age. So I'm very pleased, especially for my young colleague there in Chipata. It's always good to have young people get involved in leadership. So I think maybe Chishimba and Taonga, you also want to make sure maybe 5-10 years from now you'll be running for office somewhere out there. I don't know if Mr. Mwale is also going in that direction. And while we are on the same, today is a very special occasion. We are talking about 61 years. So let's start with the mayor. What does independence mean to you? 61 years, 1964 to now. What does that mean to you?
So for me as a young person in leadership, my reflection on independence as it sits today is a celebration of the sacrifices of selfless individuals that laid a strong foundation for this country and for everyone else. We need to do better as a country, of course, to recognize more of the effort of those people, and most of them were young people at the time. But also, the other reflection on 61 years of independence is that we as a young generation and the generation right now have an opportunity to build our country better, to build on the successes, on the efforts, sacrifices of those that were there before us, but to position the country in a direction that is going to respond to present challenges, that is going to have practical solutions to the practical 21st century problems, so that we can continue blending the past and the future. The current challenges now that were never the challenges at the time are economic issues, social issues, environmental issues. So appreciate the efforts, sacrifices, political freedom that was attained at that particular time, and look at the current realities, the challenges of technological and digital transformation, challenges of youth unemployment, challenges of the marginalization of young people in political and influential leadership positions and participation, as it were, the patriotism that we need to build on from the past. So that is my reflection on what is the meaning of independence. It's a celebration of the sacrifices by selfless individuals that were there, but an opportunity at the same time for this generation to build, reposition Zambia in a direction where we want, that is going to be responsive to the present day challenges and build the future for ourselves. So we have a country. So we have a country as a result of those sacrifices, but what is it that we can do moving forward is the meaning of independence. So we have an opportunity to build this country, position it, shape it in the manner that we would like it to go, considering the present day challenge. That's my reflection on the meaning of independence.
Yeah, I think that. Thank you, sir. That's well said. That's right. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back with Mr. Mwale. So a quick break and then we'll be back with Mr. Mwale. Mr. Mwale, what's
Yes.
your take on what comes to mind when you hear independence? What comes to mind?
I think, thank you very much, Noah, for that wonderful question. I think, it reminds me, first of all, of the times when I was much, much younger, probably my primary school, when we would actually sing the national anthem, and we would sing about, we would sing about how proud and free we are as a nation. So what really comes to my mind when I think about independence is exactly that, we have been free for the last 61 years. And the real question that is there is that we've been free to do what? Who was holding us back? What were they holding us back from? And now that we are free from that, have we been able to actually, take the steps that are required for us to be able to receive the emancipation that we require? So deep thought for me is that independence is a reminder to each and every one of us in the nation that whatever you feel was holding you back from actually achieving anything that you would have wanted to achieve is that now you are actually free. And because you are free, there's what is called the responsibility of freedom that now comes upon you, which you need to now wake up by yourself. Nobody else will come and wake you up very early in the morning. No one will whip you to actually go to the field and produce. No one will actually force you to go into class and learn. No one will push you to get a job or to start a business. But you have the responsibility as an individual to wake up very early in the morning, brush your teeth, dress up, as well as also study, and nobody will do these things for you. So for me, independence is simply a thought, a push and a drive to say, do you understand that you are free and there is responsibility that comes with freedom? Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, sir. I think that's well put. I like that. So Chishimba Maliwase, how do you define independence? What comes to mind?
Um, so as Mr. Gilbert was explaining, I was like, did you check my notebook? Because I do agree with his sentiments. I think we like to look at independence as freedom, but we forget that freedom comes with a connotation of responsibility. So it's the same thing with adulthood. When you grow up, when you are probably 6 years old, seven, you can obviously not be left home to take care of the house or to take care of yourself. But as you grow, say in your 20s, then people will give you a responsibility because you have what it takes to take care of yourself. So connecting this to the landscape of a country, it means that we are independent enough to take responsibility for our actions, responsibility for the consequences as well of our actions. So when someone is independent, it means that they can make decisions with the consequences that they are well aware of. So the other scenario I would use is what recently happened in 2020. There was a world lockdown, and so like a lot of things was tested during that period, and so it gave me a thought to say, when or if Zambia is locked down from the rest of the world, how far can we go in terms of survival? I think that is one of the biggest questions that we should ask ourselves. I know we are a global village as a world right now, and no country can survive on its own. But independence begs the question, if all of these countries were not there, how far can Zambia go in terms of survival? So, how much have we achieved, and how independent are we as people? Because sometimes we look at something as simple as toothpicks, sometimes we import them from Tanzania. So, in a scenario where Zambia is at the lockdown, what can we do? I think that is how best we are able to define just how independent we are. It is freedom, yes, but freedom to make decisions whose actions or whose consequences we're able to bear. So that's what I would say for now.
All right, that's well put. Thank you for that. And now we go to Taonga Zulu. Taonga Zulu, what comes to mind when you hear independence? Or how do you describe, characterize independence?
So when I hear the word independence, I think of freedom with purpose. This means that it's freedom that goes beyond the political freedom that we gained. It's about what we are doing with the freedom now. How are we making choices individually and as a nation? I'm thinking self determination, dignity, and our ability and power to shape the kind of Zambia that we all want to see. I believe in today's context, Zambia's independence means ownership as well. How are we ensuring that beyond responsibility, we are taking ownership of our voices, our economy, our future, and the country's ability to make decisions that empower the young people, the women, and the children, of course. And this also means that we need to ensure that all marginalized groups are being at the center of decision making. They're being allowed to be innovative and make progress. Because I truly believe that true independence is not only about freedom from external rule, but it's also about freedom from inequalities, poverty, discrimination, and exclusion. So when I think independence, I think freedom with purpose and freedom from discrimination. Thank you.
That's good. Good. It's Zambia needs you guys. Like I say, some of us we are not in the youth category. We are above that because I think if my mind serves me correctly, you have to be 35 and below to be considered a youth. So I think that's what that applies. 35 and below, you are considered a youth, and if you are 35 and above, the title of a youth should be wrestled away from you. So now I think here's a follow-up question. I think any of you guys can pick it up. Is economic independence a reality for young Zambians? What challenges stand in the way? Is economic independence a reality for young Zambians? If no, if yes, what challenges stand in the way? Anyone can take a stab.
All right. So I will just throw in a thought there, and I'll allow others to also chime in. So what I believe is that this is the mindset that I have, and I think so many people may not subscribe to it for various reasons. Is that we have had a situation in the nation where a lot of people have what you consider as an entitlement mindset. And for me, I had the opportunity to study. I got my master's in computer science degree, and from India. And the best that I could get was a scholarship around that from the government of Zambia and India. And without knowing anybody, I had that opportunity. I applied for that. I won, and I went through, and I got to get a good result out of that. And coming back, the simple thought, even when I was being interviewed by the panel as a young man, when they're asking me, what would you like to do? Why should we allow you to go and nobody else? I said, look, I plan on returning and setting up companies that are going to be able to employ youths and assist them to actually be able to actually have jobs, even when they have very little experience, because people are looking for 5 years, 10 years experience. And this young person has not gotten that from anywhere. So I want to be that place, that haven, where they can get that from, either continue with me or go somewhere else where they will be accepted now. And I've been able to see that happening because of the mindset. I told myself, I'm going back, whether somebody gives me a job or not, I'm going to make that job. So I believe that when it comes to entrepreneurship itself, it's entrepreneurship as well as also economic emancipation for a Zambian person beyond the political independence relies strongly in our hands, first of all, as individual youths, is that you need to take up the initial step. Like I said, is that you have freedom. And that freedom, when you look at Zambia, for example, right now, if you think of countries like, think of nations like between Israel and Palestine, there's wars there going on. So people are bombing one another. You can't concentrate on anything else. For us here in Zambia, we have freedom. There's nobody shooting anybody. You are literally have the opportunity to sleep tonight and know that you wake up tomorrow morning and your house will be intact, everything will be intact about you, town will be the same, people will be doing business, people will be running around, going to school and all those things. You can be assured of that next week and the week after. So the question then is that what have you done as a young person to actually take advantage of these things, knowing also that there's a component which I probably would like to leave to my brother Mayor Mwanza as well as to talk about the issue of the part of the government policies and all where they could come in. But I strongly want to say that no one has the responsibility to turn a Zambian youth's life around except themselves, first of all. What do they have in their hands and what are they doing with it? Thank you.
Mr. Noah, might I just add?
Yeah, jump in.
All right. So I think I love what he was talking about. And I think just to also put it in simple terms, economic independence means having the power, resources, and the freedom to sustain yourself without depending on others, right? So as a nation, it also means that this is us being able to use our own resources and innovations to grow and develop sustainability. And then maybe let me trickle it down as a women's and children's activist. As for young women, it means being able to earn, own money, decide, and be free from economic control, gender-based barriers. So, having said that, I think it's very important to note that personally, I believe that economic independence is more of a vision than a current reality because we still have a lot of environmental barriers rather than an enabling environment. Because many of us here in this space as well are quite ambitious and we are very creative. Just hearing the panelists speaking makes me realize that we are full of ideas. But because the environment doesn't always give us the support we need to thrive, it means that we are not always able to achieve that economic independence that we desire. If you look at the unemployment rate, it remains one of the biggest challenges. I mean, every year, thousands of young people are graduating, but few are finding jobs. And I'm happy that we have an entrepreneur here. It means that we need to encourage more young people to get into that space. But of course, this also means that when you get into the entrepreneurship space, we have limited access to capital, land, and sometimes leadership opportunities. And from a young woman's perspective, unfortunately, sometimes gender bias consistently hinders us from being hired or getting a very good pay. So I think this is just something I want to bring to the space. Thank you.
Yeah,
If I can just.
Chishimba,
Yes.
Chishimba, you
Okay.
can jump in.
All right. I know it's getting interesting, so I wanted to jump in as well. So in 2022, I got a chance to study in the Netherlands. I did a minor in international business, and obviously, one of the things I wanted to really find out was why do African countries look seemingly different from European or American countries? And that was really my case study when I went there. I spent quite some time there, and I think one thing I would say is before I had a different mindset of how a country or the government should come in and help young people. Initially, I was for the idea that when you are determined enough, when you're ambitious enough, things tend to happen. But when you look at the environment, as Taonga was saying, when you look at the environment, is it giving an opportunity for young people to thrive? I'll give you an example, right? Because again, in these other countries, you are at liberty to choose whether you want to be an academician or you want to be an entrepreneur. So I'm sure most of the times when we are thinking of people being ambitious enough, we think of it as starting a business and earning millions. But again, there are people that just want to go the academic route. I just want to study, get employed, and my life is good. So when you look at the employment landscape, for example, medical doctors, and I give this example because a long time ago, or even in many other countries, doctors are on demand, they finish a degree, they are employed. And now imagine people are spending 7 years in school, and we have about 3 years, three intakes of graduates from UNZA and CBU that are not employed and they are doctors. So imagine you spend 7 years in school learning this skill, becoming a doctor, graduating, and then you don't find a job. Okay, so now for us entrepreneurs or people with a mindset of entrepreneurship, we would say, oh no, just find something else to do. But there's an emotional aspect to that. There's wasting of time, if you would put it that way, because I spent 7 years and now you're telling me to learn something different or earn new skills for me to find a better life. How fair would that be? So I do believe that there's a lot that's lacking in terms of creating opportunities for young people, even in the funding. And I think Mr. Gilbert has had quite a number of, I've had a privilege of interacting with him in the past. And yeah, a lot of people do not have access to such funding opportunities. And even when they are there, it's maybe how many funding or how many people are funded in a year for entrepreneurship purposes, and how many people have tried and applied and have kept trying for 5 years. So I feel like there has to be um, a proper environment that's set up by our country. If we want to be an entrepreneur, there should be systems, there should be ways in which you are easily assisted to go in that field or in that area. But it's like for us, you're on your own. That's a problem that we have in our country. It's like you're on your own. You want to do something, and these big entrepreneurs, you find that they started from scratch, they built an empire maybe 10 years, down the line. So it's very, very different from other countries. So I would say there's a role that governance has to play, and that sense of independence is not there when it comes to you being able to choose. And the last thing I would talk about is also courses. Okay, so in Zambia, a lot of people are teachers and nurses, not because they are passionate, but because there was an employment window in that area. And you find that we have now an imbalance in terms of these opportunities. So you find that there are more than 50,000 unemployed teachers. Those were the statistics some years back. So you find that there are so many unemployed teachers because people are getting in those fields because that's where the employment was. So I feel like if people were given opportunities in economically, then they'll be able to pick the courses they love, pick the career choices they love. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you can be. If you want to be an academician, you can be. But I feel like our current environment does not give us an opportunity to choose.
It's a no.
Yeah.
Am I allowed, or you want to move on?
No, you can jump in. You can jump in, and then we'll take a break. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, great stuff. So I love what the ladies have said, and I like to get back to this. That for example, Shimba has mentioned something amazing, which is to say that she had the opportunity to go and study abroad. The question that should be asked is, how was that facilitated? How was it done? And if there's any chance in there that the government was involved, is that already that was an environment, an enabling environment. If she was able to get a passport to go out there, as difficult as it may have been, but you managed to get it, you could be able to go to an airline. There was an airline where you could jump on and the flight came to Zambia and you were able to go. So for me, these are like the smallest chances, first of all. Now, obviously, we are looking at 61 years of independence. So the question is that, is this at its best? The answer is no. We can do more. This is the bare minimum of what she used for her to be able to step on that opportunity. But I'm saying that we could do more. What I feel when it comes to economic empowerment is that the government and the private sector, you can call it entrepreneurship or whatever you want, but we call it the private sector and the government, is that government is an enabler. They set up opportunities, they set up platforms that people could actually use. They are not going to come and decide for people which direction people want to go. There are some things they can do to improve the opportunities that they are providing to people, but also there's a drive that is required on the other hand that is actually important for people to actually get things done. I'll give you an example. So as a business, we've been in the agri space for quite a while. And having worked around with farmers as well as also employing people, I've employed roughly about within the timeline of our business close to about 50 people by now. And what has happened over time is that I realized that there's an agri group, people who are studying agriculture and they are going out there without any jobs. Exactly as we are speaking right now about teachers and as we're talking about nurses and doctors and all. Now, you see, on the other hand, there's what is called a group of emergent farmers who actually are farming and themselves, they are working at the same time while they are also farming on their farms. And they're getting poor results because they're always calling their relatives, kumunzi, at the village. They'll call their relative from the village, come over and come and take care of my cattle, come and take care of my goats and all those things. And the things are dying. Everything is just failing there. And they are just throwing out their investments. So in thinking as well, for me, this is why I love the fact that there's peace in the nation, is that I can concentrate on these things, thinking to myself to say, what can I do? So quickly, what I did is that we set up an environment where I got all this group of people, 900 kids, 900 young people who are actually graduates of different, certificate holders, diploma holders, degree holders. And I started lining them up with these farms. And suddenly, I am creating employment for these people into the farms while helping the farm owners actually be able to have expertise on their farm, which is now turning around their farms. And hence we are saying that we are pushing them towards commercialization. So what I'm saying is that we as young people have the opportunity to sit down and say, with very little, now if you ask me what capital did I need, all I needed was a Facebook post to simply say how many people need jobs for them to be able to, for them to start working at farms. 900, 1,000 and so came through and said, yes, I'm interested. Well, I turned back and said, how many farmers actually need expertise? I got into WhatsApp groups where they're always complaining about how farm workers are stealing their animals. Somebody said I had 200 cattle and I'm now remaining with 20. Why? Because the rest have either been dying. The serious one I've ever heard is the goat was eaten by the dog, and then the owner is asking to say where are the remains of the goat? So no, it ate everything. Now you see, there's a problem somewhere right there, and there is people looking for opportunities. And I just came in the middle and said, come through without any strong need of capital. I did that for quite some time by myself, and now I've started helping other young people come in and join in the organization to help me recruit these people faster into these people's farms. So the point I'm making here is that on one end, yes, for example, when I'm agreeing with Taonga and Chishimba, is that we need policies. We need policies, startup policies. We need financial policies. We need all these things, very critical. But one of the things I've found, one time, I'll end with this note. A gentleman from the US reached out to me and said, I want people to fund. So he funded me a bit over $5,000 to do what I was doing. And then he asked me, I've seen how well you have actually taken care of my money. Can you look for extra Zambians who I can actually be able to fund? I want them to meet this criteria. Noah, I had a very difficult time finding those people. It was very difficult to find people who could align to that criteria, just to get a $5,000 from somebody else from the US. And now I was concerned because if I just get it to anybody and he does that, I'll be the one who will look bad. I tried to look through people, nobody could do that. So my point here is that there's also our role in this move towards economic emancipation. There's a responsibility we have, and we need to, no government can do that for us. Well, they need to do their part as well. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. I'm enjoying the conversation and I'm taking notes, so keep it coming. All right, so if you are just joining us, we are paying tribute, reflecting on the 61 years of independence that Zambia has been free. People say free in quotation marks, or what does that mean? So this is part of the reason why we are having this conversation, to hear from folks who have very well informed opinions on these matters. So as we proceed in our conversation here, we are now going to take a different turn and focus on Zambia's independence, because for those who may not be familiar, Zambia is a country located in the southern tip of Africa. got its independence in 1964, and the first Republican president was Kenneth David Kaunda. He is the gentleman who fought for freedom along with many others. In a time in October when we're reflecting on the service, the courage, the bravery that our founding fathers exhibited during that time, I think it's just very inspiring to look at what our people did. So I am actually part of a group of people who are working to see if we can put together the life of our first Republican president, of course, Kenneth Kaunda, into a motion picture. So a lot of groundwork has been done, but we are also looking for people who can come on board, because we have a very hefty budget of $20 million, not kwacha, $20 million, to bring to the screen the life story of Kenneth Kaunda. So I have a little clip here that will showcase the project that we're working on.
When we look back the path which led to this conference room today, we cannot entirely forget, but we can certainly forgive the days of our imprisonment and the occasions when many of us have been subject to personal indignities and hardship because of our political ideas.
Zambia does not have the capacity to strike back at the enemy, because the enemy has been prepared for the last 60, 70 years, South Africa, for the last 54 years, Rhodesia. What's more, centuries behind them coming from the Western countries.
Yeah, so that's the movie project that we are working on to bring to your screen. So I think at this point now, we're gonna switch gears and look at some questions. I think now we're gonna start. I think the person we're starting with is Mr. Mwale. Mr. Mwale. Yeah, so that is a project that we're working on, and hopefully in the coming...
That's amazing. Very emotional, just that little clip, seeing the old man, while he was still young, thinking about what he did and what we are enjoying right now as young people. That was very emotional. I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, Kaunda, I think, did a lot for our country. I think when you do the research and just the men and women of that time and day, those were people of integrity, because these are people who were not looking to build the biggest house on the block. These were not people who were looking to siphon as much money and hide and all that craziness. So this is why I personally agreed to work on this project, and this is why it's important to always elevate people like that. So now, here is a question for you, sir. Share how your entrepreneurial journey reflects the ideals of economic independence and the innovation in Zambia today, what we need today. So take it away, sir.
Thank you very much once more, Noah, just for this opportunity to be here and have this conversation. So, when you look at my entrepreneur journey, it has been driven strongly, by a deep conviction that Zambia's transformation will come when us, its people, take ownership of our economic destiny, and that we do not wait for somebody to send us a savior, to send us, aid and assistance. There's a place for all those things. As you recapitulate from your struggles as an individual, you do need assistance. But rather, if it's going to be sustainable, if it's going to be able to grow and become something that actually resonates into the next generations of our children as well, is that we will need to take responsibility ourselves of the economic destiny. And when you look at the company that we started out, I started out first of all in 2016 with IMSICA Services Limited, and it was purely born as a result of someone who's thinking of saying, how do I solve problems in my own nation, and then at large as well, thinking of it from the perspective of, a continent and globally in the event that we grow to that level, because we are always looking at also, solving problems at a continental and a global level. So we started out with IMSICA. We partially branded out and started calling it Farmhouse IMSICA. This is simply we literally just professionalize farm management. We help farm owners understand the necessity that when it comes to having the right people on the ground and the right processes. So I'll ask this simple question, Noah, which is to say that, in our nation, in Zambia specifically right now, we have companies like ShopRite, a great retail store. We have companies like Pick and Pay. These are Spar, these are companies that primarily, come from South Africa, as that's their origin, but they are now in Zambia, and I celebrate that. I appreciate that they have thought of expanding into our nation, because now we are able to experience beautiful products that we could have never had the opportunity to experience. Now, that's on one side. On the other side is that, do you know, Mr. Noah, that there is no Zambian that actually owns such a retail store for the last 61 years. And for me, that's a concern to say that, are we not able? The interesting factor, though, is that most of the stores that are there, the ShopRite, Pick and Pay, and all, are actually managed by Zambians, but they are not owned or started by Zambians. Now, we have one particular one that mushroomed. Love the gentleman, I think it's called Young Feroz, is doing a great job, but still, cannot be compared to where ShopRite is. So my question has been, what can we do to have something similar? Now, coming back to the innovation of our business is this, that we have farms that are being run by Zambians, and we have what are called commercial farms. When you look at the results on a commercial farm and the results on a small scale farm by a Zambian, you'll find that it's by far uncomparable. And we have seen also at the same time that people even in the diaspora have tried to do farming activities back in Zambia, and most of them have turned out futile because of the distance. And one of the key things that has been raised multiple times, Noah, has been that you need a relative in your business. Or number two, you need yourself to be there. You can't do what is called remote farming. And we now at IMSICA are debunking that. We are rejecting that idea that these are the things that have kept us from being very small as business owners, that you expect that every business of yours, there should be a relative there, as well as also that you should be there all the time. The question then is, how is McDonald's everywhere in the world? How is KFC everywhere in the world? How many relatives do these people have to be able to have their businesses everywhere in the world? None. So this is what the models that have come from there, what are called business systems, strategic thinking, and also, what is called, professional farm worker recruitment, is what we have introduced now in the farms. And we're telling people who have got a full-time job, some who are in Dubai, Zambians who are in Dubai, and they have got farms here in Zambia, we're telling them, look, don't worry, you can actually succeed with this farm. We are informing as well those ones who are in Zambia, but they are found Monday to Friday at work. We are saying, don't worry, this lie of the fact that you can't do remote farming is not real. We'll show you how it's done. So we are holding trainings for that, physical trainings, online trainings. We are the first people to actually hold what is called advisory services for farm workers. In 2020, during COVID-19, we have more than 100 trainings online on our mobile application, which is called Farmhouse IMSICA, talking about the component of innovation and digitalization there to stand, in this day and time. We've got a mobile app that allows people to do what is called, e-commerce transactions. They can buy items from our store, or deliver them, or they can pick them up at themselves. So we have positioned ourselves now, first of all, to suit the the digital situation and the times in which we are in, while at the same time we are dealing with people who have actually a traditional perspective, because we understand that we must be sustainable and not always looking for funds out there, but generating our own money to grow our business. So to close there, my thinking is that economically, as a business, we have positioned ourselves in agriculture, but as well as also we're debunking and helping our clients on one side to say you can still be at your office place and still have your farm running perfectly because you have the right people there. And on the other hand, we are helping provide employment to young people who were unable to find jobs before, but now have the opportunity because their mindset was telling them that they can only work on a white farm, commercial farmer's farm. And we're saying, no, you can actually work for a Zambian and they can actually pay you rightly, because there was a mismatch on the payment, that this young person is expecting a high salary while the farm owner is expecting to pay them 800 kwacha. And we are saying, no, you can't do that. Can we meet somewhere and now be able to produce good results? And we're seeing that, Noah. And it's pretty interesting to see where that is going. So thank you very much on that question.
Yeah, I think that's it's interesting actually, your journey, what you have done, and just putting out a post there on social media, and here you are now. I mean, in a very comfortable position of coordinating employment. So that's very good. That's very good. So now here is a follow-up question for you.
Sure.
Discuss the role of young people in transforming agriculture and technology into the engines of independence, opportunities, and empowerment for the future generation.
Amazing question as well. I think, as young people, we have an advantage. I was listening to this. I was listening to this, interview where someone said that what computers did to Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and this whole entire crew 20 years ago, AI would do, five times faster and better. So the idea there is that, when you look at technology, as someone who comes from the background of technology, is that I used to call it the world tomorrow. It was the future. Now we are in the future now because AI is here. We need to have more young people actually learning about technology. I will use this example, Noah. When you think about a farm, or that's agriculture. When you think about a farm in Zambia, you are thinking about people. Talk about myself when I was farming with my dad back in Eastern Province, Chipata, to be specific, of Zambia, is that we were using hoes, consistently. And how many lines are you going to make with those hoes for you to be able to plant, and how much results are you going to get? Then number two, how much precision is going to be there? Then number two, the people that were that would actually use a simple thing as a tractor, their results would just literally be tripled right there. And the effort required to actually produce the results is slightly just tripled as well. Now, that is on one level. Our friends in other countries, what they've been able to do is that they have been able to introduce things like drones. They've been able to introduce, precision farming, aquaponics, hydroponics, all these things that are able to allow you to produce huge results on a very small space. The beautiful thing for me is this. I'm going to say something very controversial here. And I said this last time on my social media platform. I said, if we would want to have our young people, the current youth right now, who we are in huge population over in the country, if you want them to do agriculture the way it's being done right now, then they are equally doomed for the next 30 to 50 years of their lives. But if we are going to have them actually use technology, teach them, let them be the bridge between the technology world and the current agricultural situation in whatever way. Let's equip them with information, knowledge, how to use technology, and then let them come into the space and come and work with existing farmers. And by the way, this is the reason why we are asking farm owners to allow people who have done a diploma certificate minimum on their farm, is that we feel that now with that group on the farm, we can now introduce technology because they are able to, they are literate, and they are not only just book literate, they're also technology literate, is that then we can equip them now to be able to actually use these tools now on their farms. There is a lot of applications out there to help them know, and if they can actually use them, they will do so. So the independence that we need to see going forward around this space is we need to see youth being taught technology to take it to agriculture. Thank you.
All right, so Chishimba Maliwasa, it's 61 years. Obviously, you were not there. Maybe were you around during the independence days? I could be jumping to conclusion that you were not there. Maybe you were.
No, in spirit, through our ancestors.
Okay, that's good. That's the right answer. So here's a question for you, Chishimba. I'll project it up there on the screen. How do young people today express their understanding of independence through digital platforms and social media?
I think one thing I'll say is technology is a two-edged sword. If you use it right, it has the capacity to really transform your life in a positive way. If you use it negatively, that's the same case. So one thing that I've noticed that digitalization has brought is the ability for people to say whatever they feel they can say because they feel like they will not bear the consequences of that action. We have a lot of people that bully others because they are at, behind the screen, and they feel like they can say whatever they want. So it has brought a certain level of freedom. And as we mentioned in the preamble, sometimes freedom is very misunderstood, because people think freedom is I can do whatever I want, but it's I can do whatever I want, bearing in mind what the consequences are. But with the coming in of social media, someone can create a fake profile and attack the president, attack people, and say whatever they feel. So I think because of that, we have a lot of information. And I think that's one of the issues that we have in our current generation is we have a lot of data that we need to siphon through. You can find someone has a page and they can for now what it takes to be even like an influencer or someone who speaks into issues is just a smartphone and 5 kwacha for bundles, and then you can feel free to express yourself. If you even have a good accent, then you are good to go, and that is creating a situation where people do not know who to listen to. And a lot of people now feel like they have a voice, they can say whatever they want in the comment sections. And I think this is creating a lot of confusion because we don't have a very controlled environment on social media, where you have to be Noah, you have to be someone who has experience, someone who stayed in the United States for you to give a certain kind of information out there. But right now on social media, I can say and lie about any credential I want, and people will start listening to me. And that is, one of the issues that we have right now. So I feel in terms of expression, we are having a challenge because a lot of people are just saying whatever they feel they can say without like a background check of who's saying what and who's speaking in a kind of way. And like I said, it's a two-edged sword, because if you use it right, I would say part of because I'm an author and I started out on social media writing articles. And because of that, someone spotted me and said, I think you can write a book. And when I was just 20, I wrote a book and it went very viral. Actually, I was a freshman in university and I wrote a book. And it was really, something that people had never seen before. And so because of that, I got to have a lot of opportunities when I was younger. And I think it shaped me in a way. And ever since I've started using my social media for good, because you look at employers nowadays are even going on your social media to see what you post or what you do. Sometimes LinkedIn, sometimes even Facebook. An employer would go and see, what you share on your social media platform. So, in as much as it's coming in with a lot of positivity, when it comes to issues of national matters and things like that, it's very difficult to siphon through and see who can say, the positive things about something. But I do feel like social media is a good platform, and it has potential really to transform. So it's just up to a person to know to listen to and be responsible enough to put out content that's very, very positive. Yeah, so I think it's a two-edged sword. In as much as it has brought a lot of freedom of expression,
Mhm.
some levels of freedom are very negative. Yes, but I think so far, because even this will be broadcast on social media, so there's a lot of good that's coming out of it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So at least I've learned something. I don't have to post anything I think of on social media. I'll be careful next time. All right. So it takes me to the second question. Share how technology and online spaces can be used to promote patriotism, national identity, and youth engagement.
Okay. So, like I said, I think technology has its own, negatives. But if we as young people, because I've seen a lot of people posting or sharing on their social medias on things that are very positive. So I feel there has to be, and this is where now I'm siding with Gilbert to say, okay, there's a level to which the government or these spaces can go. But then as an individual, you also have a responsibility. And that is where patriotism comes in, because being patriotic is you understanding the responsibility you have to the state, to the community around you, to your family, and to other people who are part of your life, or whose space you are a part of. So I feel like there has to be a lot of personal conviction, and as an individual you're supposed to have it at heart to do what is right. So when you have that in mind, then you'll be able to share what's positive on social media. And I think one of the most important things again is learning how to filter information. So we have people that are very lazy to gather information, and on social media, like I said, anyone can wake up and post anything. And we've seen even when people are expressing themselves, sometimes in debates, sometimes even at national level, they have wrong statistics. Because I can just wake up one day, create a website, add some social media or search engine optimization, and when someone searches on a topic, I'll be the first person that pops up. So most of the times you find that people have very, very wrong information because of their sources of data. So I think that is what social media has brought, because now it is very difficult for you to know what is true and what isn't. So I feel like on these digital spaces, of course, we get to share information that I feel on a personal level, but there has to be need for a deeper study by young people. Because I've seen sometimes a social media platform will just fabricate a story, then someone would, pick that story and, pick it for the gospel truth, when they have to research more and find out more about what is happening. So I feel like the Gen Z attention span is all about, watching a 1 minute video and concluding, making conclusions right there and then, whereas it's supposed to be you trying to dive deeper and find the truth. So I think in as much as we are seeing all these things on social media, I think it's a personal responsibility to be able to find out, is this true information, is this real information, and how best can I reach out to people. The same way that you can use 5G, 500, 5 kwacha for maybe 750 megabytes. You buy, then you pass out wrong information. It's the same way that you can use that time, that energy, and those resources to reach out on social media and make a positive impact. Like I said, I'm someone who has been built, to a larger extent by social media, because sometimes you get an opportunity. I will give an example of the time I met Mr. Gilbert. We were speaking together. We were sharing a panel at Zanaco offices in Lusaka. And I got that opportunity to speak there because I'm originally from Kitwe, but I was invited to Lusaka, and I was, everything was paid for, my logistics and everything. And it was one of my first times to be in such a space. And I got an opportunity to sit with, powerful people because I used my social media rights, because the person that recommended me had been following me on Facebook. And then they said, I think this young lady can come through and say something. And I went, and I was juxtaposed to, great people like Mr. Gilbert. So a decision to decide to use social media positively can actually change and impact a young person's life. And just to borrow from Mr. Gilbert, AI is I don't even know how to describe it. We don't know how to describe it at this point, because it's breaking a lot of norms. Look at industrial resolution and what has just been happening. It's the quickest thing ever that we've seen, and it's really going speedily. Where people are afraid of losing jobs from AI, we can also leverage on AI to do the positive things. So social media is as a tool, it's a platform, and how you decide to use it is based off of who you are as an individual, which is why I feel like one of the best things that we can do, especially for our people, is to do a mindset shift, because it's the same social media, it's the same 24 hours where Mr. Noah can work and make such great impact. And then the same 24 hours, someone can use it for something wrong. It's the same thing with social media. So I think it stems from a decision to say, I'm going to use social media positively. And then you see how it helps you. Like I said, I've been made by social media. My book sales, most of the things I've really done, and even the opportunity I got by the UN to study in the Netherlands, it came because people were researching on me. They were like, okay, who's this girl? What does she do? What has she done? They went to my social medias and they were able to see me put out positive content and information. I've gotten a lot of clients for some of the works I do because of this same social media. So even when it comes to being patriotic, looking at how best we can develop our country, because we also have a role to play. So it all stems from a mindset of wanting to bring transformation, a mindset of thinking I am also part of this change that I want to see, and then using social media to that end. So that's what I would say on this one.
Primier Media is one of the fastest growing independent media enterprises that produces bias-free content and streams educational programs to empower Africans, African Americans, and the African diaspora around the globe. Primier Media owns and operates a valuable portfolio of streaming programs, such as Primetime Show, The Circle of Love, Leadership Files, and Revolution. Not forgetting our signature development panel series, which features experts around the world that highlight challenges and opportunities in Africa, putting Africa in the center of global conversations. For more information, visit us at premiermedia.com or follow us on social media.
All right, follow us on social media. If you're on social media, follow our page for educational programming that uplift, that is patriotic. That's what Chishimba is saying. We have to be patriotic. We have to put up information that is going to be helpful for the country. And now we are transitioning to our final panelist, and this is Lady Taonga Zulu. Taonga, you have been sitting there quietly waiting for your turn.
Yes.
Now your turn has come. So the question that I have for you, I know it's been a while. You were taking notes, obviously, while others are talking. Now the question is, what does independence mean for young women? particularly in terms of equality, inclusion, and empowerment?
Okay, so to start, I'm going to bring out a point I mentioned earlier. For young women, independence goes beyond political freedom. It's about having the power, the voice, the opportunity to fully participate in Zambia's development. I love how Chishimba brought out the fact that she was speaking to empowerment of the mind, mindset shift. And I truly believe that true independence will also reflect that, because it will reflect a Zambia where women and girls are equally represented in leadership, where they have equal access to education. I understand there's free education, and the government has made countless strides to improve that for the women and girls. But it also means, how are we addressing the indirect barriers to access to education? How are we ensuring that young women and girls are able to access decent work and resources without them having to go the extra mile? And how are we ensuring that their choices are respected, free from discrimination, violence, or limitation? It's about economic independence, where a young woman can support herself and her family without having to depend on others, social independence, or where her worth is not defined by traditional roles, and where political independence is not hindered by institutionalized sexual harassment, where her voice influences policy and decision making at every level, be it at local level in the community or at national level, cabinet, parliament level. And just to add, I also believe that for us, independence means the freedom to dream and to act, knowing that the system will recognize and support our potential equally. And it also means that it's about creating spaces that are inclusive, where young women are not just invited to the table, but are part of shaping the agenda. I like to tell young people in different spaces that if you don't have a seat at the table, sit on the table. And for me, true independence means that we must not have to sit on the table, jump on the table, jump in through the window. It means that there has to be deliberate and intentional action from others to ensure that our seat is actually there at the table. So that's what I have to say about true independence from our perspective.
Yeah, I think that's well put, well said. Now let's follow it up with the other question. Speak on the role of youth-led advocacy in advancing gender justice and building a truly independent Zambia.
Okay, to start, the youth are the majority in this country. And because of that, I truly believe that youth-led advocacy is not only the cornerstone, but the heartbeat of Zambia's progress. The young people are the future. And young people, of course, especially young women, are truly redefining what independence looks like in our generation. I have been able to see that when young people take up leadership positions, be it formal or informal leadership positions, I mean, just look at the panel, the people who have been speaking. You see them redefining what is acceptable, especially with regards to the progress for the country. So through our activism, innovation, and community engagement, we as the young people are the ones who should be pushing for laws and systems that protect the rights of all individuals, and that challenge things like gender-based violence and ensure that they're promoting equal opportunities, be it for equality or equity. And one of the other roles of the young people is to use their voices, their creativity. This is their ability to create art, to be innovative, use their technology. I think we're from hearing that from the previous speaker, and our ability to organize power to demand accountability, transparency, and justice. We do know that Africa is filled with a lot of corrupt countries. As the young people, one of our roles is to ensure that we call it out. It's to ensure that we demand for accountability. Because when we do that, taking away corruption makes it a little easier to advance gender justice in the systems in the country. And I also believe that a truly independent Zambia cannot exist without gender justice. When young people and young women are empowered and included, our nations become stronger, more resilient, and self-sustaining. So in this, young people must also ensure that they are demanding what they must see, and that they are demanding for equal rights for both women and men. And as young activists, advocates, we are honestly not supposed to wait to inherit leadership anymore. We have reached a point where we must shape it. We must shape it today and now, because our role is to keep the spirit of independence alive by ensuring the freedom and equality and dignity become realities of every Zambian and not just those who are privileged. And just to add, I really loved the video you shared on our first Republican president. I believe it will truly remind us of what patriotism must look like. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, and well said. I think we're gonna replay the video for you again,
Yes,
because
please.
yeah, we want to make our guest happy. So we're gonna play the video again for those who missed it. This is Zambia's first Republican president, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, um, who presided over Zambia for 27 years from 1964 to 1991. And Zambia this month turns 61. So we are reflecting on what has been done, what needs to be done, who needs to do what. And this panel consists of the younger generation. These are the people that we're looking to take Zambia into greater frontiers. So with that, let's play a clip of this movie, which is coming up. I think, I don't know, I don't have a time frame because there is a lot of moving pieces that have to be worked on. So without further ado, here is the movie clip. The working title for now is called The Struggle.
When we look back the path which led to this conference room today, we cannot entirely forget, but we can certainly forgive the days of our imprisonment and the occasions when many of us have been subject to personal indignities and hardship because of our political ideas. Zambia does not have the capacity to strike back at the enemy because the enemy has been prepared for the last 60, 70 years, South Africa, for the last 54 years, Rhodesia. What's more, centuries behind them coming from the Western countries.
All right, people. So we are in the final stretch of our conversation, and now at this point, we're gonna get your closing statements, anything that you wanted to talk about, which you were not asked, which you didn't get a chance to speak about. So this is your opportunity. We're gonna go to Chishimba. Chishimba, start us out with your final thoughts. All right, so you want to make sure that you are unmuted.
Yes, there's a lot to unpack. Yeah, but what I would say, like I said, I always imagine Zambia in a lockdown. Just imagination, of course. And then would we survive? Looking at what we have on the table. What I want to see basically is a Zambia that is able to produce, not just import. It's very sad to turn the back of a plate, no, made in Tanzania, made in Congo. We need to be, the frontliners of technology. We've seen that technology is a new norm. Instead of being afraid that it's going to take our jobs, why don't we incorporate it in the things that we already do? So I'd like to see Zambia being independent in the sense of, can we produce some of these things? Can we have plants that are able to produce mobile phones? Can we have a mobile phone brand? Can we at least do more of manufacturing? Because even the copper that we are best known for, it has to be sent somewhere, and then we buy it again as a copper bracelet, which doesn't really make sense to me at this point. So I'd like to see Zambians, taking the front lines. It's not always that we should, copy what's happening out there. We can also create something that people can also adopt in their own countries. So for me, the true meaning of independence is us being able to be self-sustainable. I know we can't be completely self-sustainable, but if you're a country that's not desperate, then it's easy for you to have some level of bargaining power. but we don't have that at the moment. So I'd like to see such kind of a Zambia, and where young people also will be assisted. And I think it's a challenge to everyone here on the panel to be able to assist, young people. I've seen the good side of it where I get opportunities, but I've seen the bad side of it where people struggle for years to get funding for an app they've been building, to get funding for, a certain project that they have. So even as we are, creating employment, I think we are also, challenged today to do more for our country, and also a challenge to our leaders to be able to, instigate and put across policies that will help young people to be who they want to be, not pushed in a way because of economic challenges. So that's something I would say.
Thank you, Chishimba. So we're gonna go to Taonga.
Okay, so what I want to say is just building on what she's from saying, I think we should move from being a generation that is passive. Let us be the generation that turns independence into impact. Let's not just inherit the freedom and enjoy the freedom, but let us ensure that we leave it changed. Let us transform it into justice, equality, and empowerment. Let us make our patriotism active in how we vote, how we lead, and how we stand up to those without how we stand up to those who speak on behalf of us, and how we ensure that those without a voice are spoken for. Let us ensure that the next chapter of our country will be written for the young people, by the young people who have refused to settle for half freedom. And let that be the kind of independence we fight for, the one that represents and speaks for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said, well put. And it's people like you who are determined, people like you who are passionate, people who have the fire burning in them, who are going to drive this country forward. So when we look back to our founding fathers, Kenneth Kaunda and the others, those were able to move the needle to where they were able to reach with what they had at their time, because there was no AI, there was no internet, so they had to do what they had to do with what they had. But now the times have changed. There were a limited number of graduates when Zambia got its independence, so it speaks to the limitations of what the country was able to achieve. But now, fast forward 61 years later, the country is standing at a different angle and a different path. So there's much more that the country can achieve. But in order for the country to achieve all that, it needs men and women who are fired up, men and women who are sick and tired of being sick and tired, that they want to take action and get involved. I greatly appreciate the young mayor in Chipata, Mr. Gilbert Mwanza. And also, it's a call for everyone out there that in order for our country to make the progress that we want it to make, it's going to take us all getting involved. It's going to take us all taking a stand. Now, with that said, let's get the final thoughts from Mr. Mwale. Mr. Mwale, your final thoughts as we run down our program. Yeah, Mr. Mwale, take it away if you are able to speak.
Hi, Mr. Noah. Thank you very much for the opportunity once more. I'm not sure whether you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, go ahead, though your video is paused, but yeah, take it away.
Great. Thank you very much. So I think for me, how I would just add up everything is that we have a great responsibility as Zambians, and we are now in the knowledge space. We are in the knowledge economy. We are also in the AI economy, technology economy. There's nothing that stands in our way as individuals or as countries to achieve what we want. No one stands in our way. We can study things online. I know young people right now who have learned how to do nails for people, manicure, pedicure, all those things by just simply watching YouTube. I've never been in any class before. And therefore, I feel like we have everything at our disposal. So we can rewrite our own stories in any way possible. We have heard of Shimba's story, how that she has written a book. She has shared her own perspective, and nobody could control that. So the little saying that goes to say that when the hunter when the hunter writes the story, the hunted will never have a voice. In this case, we also have a voice. Platforms are open. You can gain knowledge the way you want. So because of that, I feel like as a nation and as individuals, as young people, we should be taking this independence as an opportunity for us to build anything we would want to build that is for the good of our nation and the people at large. And that is simply by sitting down, deciding who you want to be and how you want to become so, gaining the knowledge that you require, and then seeking out to make yourself available out there in different platforms. There's training that are going out throughout the country on a continuous basis, platforms, conferences, and all. You can show up in those places and showcase yourself and what you are capable of doing. So, with that said, I would like to say that as I'm speaking, I wanted to just agree with Taonga that women are people that actually should be given a lot of credit, and I think they have to come in with a lot of force usually in a space because everybody downplays their capacity. One of the other companies that we have just set up now is called Juvenile. And just simply help them access, microloans. And it's simply just that they've been doing this for the last 20, 50 years, running in markets by themselves. What about if they had some bit of support, a bit of push? How far would they go? So for me, I just want to tell young people out there, women and youth, as well as also men, that you have a blank slate in front of you. Write your own story. Thank you, Mr. Noah, for this platform. I appreciate it. And to everybody listening, thank you for paying attention.
Yes. Thank you. So thank you, Chishimba. Thank you, Taonga, and thank you, Mr. Mwale. It's been a pleasure as we reflect on this great month in the history of Zambia, which is very monumental, reflecting on the independence and what that means. So this has been a very well articulated panel discussions. I've enjoyed the exchange, the ideas, the passion, the energy, the fire that we have, and this is exactly what we need to propel Zambia on the path on which it needs to stand, so that at least when you mention Zambia, everybody else out there knows where the country is and what the country can do. Just like to Chishimba's point, we want Zambia to be a production hub, to produce, not only just to consume. We want a country that we are all proud of, that speaks to integrity, honesty, and transparency. So this is your fight. This is you getting involved, not just waiting for the others to say somebody else is going to do it. What can you do for your country? I'll end it at that. So again, I thank you all for sharing your time. We don't take it lightly. We greatly appreciate. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be with us to share some thoughts. So again, I thank you all, and to possibly circle back next year so that we see where you guys, what you are achieving, because there's so much to achieve in this country. Again, I thank you all for taking time to be on this program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.